Lucky Boys Podcast.
And this one time I got placed in front of the class because I was just being such a disturbance, and I got banned from eating carrots. It's just like small things like that. And I was like, yeah, like this is a problem. But
Hold on, you got banned from eating carrots?
Yeah.
Why?
Because I was bored. So I would snap it off and just bother people. And then I would go around different corners of the classroom just to like fuck with the teacher.
So you felt compelled to do that because of ADHD?
Yeah, because I was bored and that was the only thing next to me.
Right.
But if there was something else, I would probably play with that too, or fidget, or like play with random things around me.
So that was the first sign where you started going, this may be part of a larger issue?
Yeah, because teachers would say like, there's something with you. And I'm like, what do you mean there's something with me?
Right.
And then I also took psychology and post-AP psychology in high school. So we learned about these things. And then I was like, that sounds like me. So I just did my research like outside of school.
So you self-diagnosed yourself?
Yeah, but then like no one really cared about it until I went to college. And then I didn't want to get diagnosed because like it's going to be on my record. I didn't want employers to know that. I was very aware of the perceptions and stereotypes about it and the stigma. So I never went to get formally diagnosed until this year. And I went to a psychiatrist and she's like, yeah, you do. And now like I do take meds for it.
For me, I don't think I had as much of the hyperactivity symptoms. I do sometimes, but for me it was like, I just thought it was like extreme procrastination. And I think that's part of what I was validated with Nelly, because I started working early, like 19, because I dropped out of college. And then I remember that was when I realized like something was wrong with me, because I would perform really well at work. Like I would get promoted and I would get like high performance reviews. And if I said I was struggling, people like rolled their eyes. They're like, you? But in reality, it's because let's say exposing myself. But if I have like really huge projects due in like a month, I would start a couple of days before, and people don't believe me. They really don't believe me. And I wouldn't sleep for several days. And I would work really, really hard, and the outcome is fine. But like the entire month I would feel really guilty and shitty. And like, I think I started dating someone who was like unemployed, and I was like, oh, this is my lifestyle, because I don't do anything the whole day. And like me and Nelly always related on that. We're like, we're so bored. And everyone's like, oh my God, you're doing so much. Like, how do you do all this stuff? And we're like, what do you mean? We're doing nothing. We do nothing the whole day. And then we get into like hyper focus before then. I think I organized like 2 meetups in Denver. I started like a data science women meetup because I had so much time. I didn't know what to do with it. And I would have to do something productive. And I had so much work, but I knew I wouldn't do it. So I just had to give myself deadlines, because the only thing that gets us to work is like fire on our ass, and it has to be like extreme fire from external things. We're going to embarrass ourselves. I was like, okay, so we need like intense pressure to do anything. But when we have that pressure, we enter like this like hyper focus, it's called. And I think like when people see it, it's like almost surreal sometimes, because like when we're not in hyper focus, we're just like,
we don't do anything.
Yeah, people think we're so high functional because they see us in the hyper focus and they see the result and it's good. So they're like, wow, you guys are like so impressive and like competent and whatever. But you don't see us then like the entire week where we're doing when I say I did nothing the whole week. We mean
nothing.
People don't believe me, like nothing. It's like kind of like when I say I don't sleep, they're like, oh, like 3 hours. No, 0 for several days. Like, but that might be because of my bipolar like hypomania thing. But yeah, I think we just had like very extreme ends, and people did not understand that, because like if you tell them the seriousness, the severity of the ADHD, they're like, oh, so you're not like whatever. And I'm like, wait, hold up, look at my resume.
I'm curious and fascinated at the same time as to how you can function that way, right? Whereas you kind of just, it sounds to me like you have this period where you go into hibernation, right? And you have this intense energy buildup to the point mentally, emotionally, physically. And then all of a sudden, like, you need to get this done. So you kind of blitz and you just start, I guess, attacking it ferociously to the point where you're not even sleeping. That to me sounds absolutely insane.
Yeah, it sounds like you get a really powerful burst of energy for that short amount of time. And I'm trying to understand from your point of view, because everything's, from what you explained, it seems like when you get that hyper focus, it's like everything slows down around you.
It's like you're fucked. Like you're gonna be fired, you're gonna be expelled, you're gonna get kicked out. You're fucked if you don't do this.
So it's fear that's pushing you?
I don't know if it's fear. It's just like an intense sense of
stress,
urgency, and there's some stress, but it's also fun.
Yeah, it's
you
fun.
Become very
it's
creative.
Fun.
Okay, I had to talk to my therapist about this a lot, because I was like, I always felt like I was so deceptive. And I think we have to be really, really, really creative to get shit done. Like I would, and then the outcome ends up well. So people are like, oh yeah, like you did a really good job doing this. And I was like, it's because I needed to finish it fucking fast. So like I end up having like, if I'm building a course, for example, like I'll be really cohesive, like have a really creative, connected story. And they're like, I think they were like, oh yeah, this is one of the best courses, blah, blah, blah. People should follow this. And I was like, huh? Because I was just like,
I think
go on.
one example I would have is for a whole semester, I didn't go to class. I didn't know what the fuck was going on. But we had this paper due. It was a final paper, and I didn't do any of the weekly assignments either. But it was like 30 pages that you had to write in total. It was due like on a Friday, and then if you didn't do it, you like it's 70% of your grade. You didn't do it, like you're fucked. So then I would pull an all-nighter, and I wrote 30 pages, and then I got an A+ in the class, and I was like, okay, cool. But I think it's like you can do all these things last minute. The result is so good, so like. It wasn't really a problem for me or anyone like around me until like you have to go into society and be like a normal functioning person. Like I can work from 10 p.m. to 5 a.m. every single day and not sleep, but other people are like, you can't do that because I have to go to meetings and things like that.
So is that a common trait for people that have ADHD to procrastinate until the final minute, the final hour?
Not that anyone would want to admit it, but yes.
Oh my God.
I mean, I used to procrastinate a lot to the final hour.
Me too.
I don't believe I have ADHD. I would attribute that to I just found it uncomfortable doing those things. I was not interested in doing any of it. So I was just really trying to push it off as much as I can. And in the final minute, I know that I have to get it done or else, right? Or else have a bad grade or getting fired or whatever it is. There will be a consequence if I don't finish it, right? That will not benefit me in any way. So I hurried up and got it done. How are you able to differentiate between just being disinterested and saying this is part of a larger problem?
I think the key difference is other people who are neurotypical or who don't have ADHD, they can choose to do work. I cannot choose. Even if I wanted to write my paper, I would start 2 weeks like ahead, and then I would go to a cafe or something, set up everything, and your mind just won't let you. So you can have everything. You can choose. You want to. I will pull all-nighters for every single day for 2 weeks because I want to get it done, but your brain just won't let you.
Yeah, I think that was one of the reasons we related to each other so much, because when I told Nelly, like, I am in a really fucked situation, and she's the only person who would understand, be like, okay, you're probably really, really fucked, but I also know you got this because like we usually got this, but like you're really that people don't really comprehend that, and I totally relate to what she said. I think the difference is like how extreme it is and how much effort you put in, because I would feel really like I really want to work. I like paid so much money for like a co-working space. I like tried to work with other people. I like tried to go to a cafe. I would like not do anything the entire fucking day. I would not let myself do hobbies. I would not let myself do anything to actually enjoy my time because I want to work, but I just can't. And my mind doesn't let me, and it gets really distracted. So it's like this loop of distractions that are trivial, and you never get work done, and you never do stuff that you actually like, which is why we have to find productive ways of spending our time. Like we have to start a meetup, we have to start a book club, we have to like do other jobs, other work, because we feel so guilty with all this time wasted anyway, and we can't do it with things we enjoy, so might as well do other work.
Does that bleed into any of your, let's say something that you have a strong interest in? Does that same form of work ethic or interests applies to other things? Or everything in your life? For example, if you're dating someone, you're going to push off doing something for them. Or if you are, you talked about running your own business, it's something that you're obviously interested in, and you have a high competency for it. So would that propel you forward to stay away from that procrastination? Or no matter what, you just can't seem to get over this and then leaving to cram everything at the end?
Yeah, I think interest is definitely the thing. Like the hyperfocus that happens right before a deadline, that's like the bad cause of hyperfocus. Another cause of hyperfocus is when you really, really enjoy stuff. I think I got a high in high school when I was like leading a robotics team, and I was also working at this startup and doing robotics competitions. I didn't sleep for like 6 months. But I was having like the time of my life, but like everything else goes to shit. Like I think when I go to
Tunnel vision.
Yeah. Like I won't, like, I think I got into hyperfocus when I started my current job. I didn't sleep. I got sick twice. I missed the insurance window, whatever shit. It was really bad. But that's when I feel like the most like
Alive.
yeah. And I think when I got that high, that's part of the reason I dropped out of college, because I got that high robotics. I was like so engaged every day. I would like stay up until 3 a.m. like planning, doing strategizing and stuff. And I was like, I don't know, so in the zone. And then I was always like, I got depressed in college because I was like, what the fuck is school? Like, why am I doing this? I don't want to do this. And I think when that interest isn't there, it's miserable. But when the interest is there, like, that's why we were always like, we have to have our own company. I can't be interested in anything that I don't have like creative control over and I have a vision for and that I get like really passionate about. So it's like that or nothing.
You know what? I could totally relate to everything you just said. And I don't have ADHD, but I could totally relate and understand and I actually get excited about what you just said. Like staying up all night into something that moves you and you have interest in and you feel like you just kind of want more out of it. It's like a good book that you can't put down or you have something, you have purpose and it gets you out of bed where you don't need an alarm clock. That's incredible. So I was afraid that it would have been the opposite, where it does bleed over to things that you have a strong passion about.
For me, if I am interested in something, I can hyper focus and I'll dream about it. So like for this podcast that we were doing, I couldn't think about anything else. Like I would wake up in the middle of the night, like 2 a.m. and start writing and doing everything. And it's just like, I can't fall asleep. So I would just not sleep for 2-3 days. And I can't think about anything else when you're interested and hyper focused on this one thing. And I think in high school, I used to do radiation oncology research. I would skip class just to go and like work on other stuff. And then we also submitted to like a bunch of competitions. So over that 2-3 weeks, I didn't do anything for school or anything. I was just working on the research paper, submitting to competitions.
So you got tunnel vision too?
Yeah.
Wow.
I don't do anything. So like for the best case scenario is if I'm working on a bunch of different projects. So right now I work full time, I'm writing a book, I'm doing this podcast, and I'm also working for a nonprofit.
Are you able to multitask?
Yes.
Okay. With a high degree of function?
Yeah. So if I need
as long as you're interested in all of those subject matters.
Yeah.
But is that common for everyone with ADHD?
Not
to be
necessarily.
able to multitask, high functional?
Multitasking, I don't know, I can do it. Can you do it?
I think like in general, when you're busy and you have a lot of different deadlines, you're more functional because you have pressure from like all the different sides. So if you have only one thing to do, it's like, oh, I could do this whenever. And times, like you don't really have a sense of time.
Yeah, no.
So that's another thing with ADHD. Like a big thing is like we can't think linearly and there's only now and not now. There isn't like, we're really bad at having a sense of time. So when you have many different obligations and there's like a schedule, this deadline here, this deadline, then it's like a lot more structured. And you're like, oh, this is my priority now. This is my priority now. So like, even when we were in school, like if I did a lot of different activities and jobs and stuff, and I have this window of time for homework or this window of time to study for a test and this window of time, like right, and like my ass is on the line, I'm much more able to get stuff done. Just because of that structure.